So now that I am definitely going to be keeping my S14, one mod that I've always wanted to do is clear lens headlights. I've had these clear lens in my possession for I don't know how long now. And I also have some nice new clear corners. Here's the new one from Circuit Sports, and then here is the old OEM one. The OEM one's really not in all that bad of condition, but I do like the look of the clear corner better. And last but not least, I have some HIDs and new projectors to be installed because I don't want to blind people while I'm driving. Although I am still on the fence as to whether or not I'm actually going to install these. I mean, I figured while I still have the whole front end off from my fender repair and harness repair, I might as well knock out the install of these lenses, which honestly shouldn't be all that tough of a job. It all depends on the amount of work that's needed to retrofit them into the S14 housing, which from what I've read online, it's pretty simple to make it all work. So let's get right on into it and get these old lenses off. It is just a couple of clips, 2 on top and 2 on the bottom that you can pry out with a flathead. Oh, and you gotta be careful because they will shoot all over the place. Now to bust out the handy dandy heat gun, heat up the outer edges of the headlight to loosen up the adhesive, and then the lens should pop off. Well, there you have it. After all that time, I got one lens off. The key to it, though, I'll tell you, is to just keep going over it with your heat gun, and eventually it will soften up that adhesive. And instead of going and focusing so much on the connection between the lens and the black plastic on the housing, focus more on the housing because you can see that adhesive kind of seeps a little bit into it. All right, so 30 minutes later, I got the other lens off, so now we have 2 naked headlights. It does kind of suck though with how much the stock lenses take away from the inside of the headlights themselves. But of course, we're gonna be taking this one step further with installing the projector, if I can figure out a way how to do it, without, of course, screwing things up. But it's me, so I'm probably going to screw things up. All right, so fast forward a couple days, I actually did get one side almost completely done. I have the projector nicely installed into the headlight housing. I just wasn't able to get the clear lens to fit exactly right. I have contacted the company to hopefully see if they can send me out another pair because there's no way I'm going to be able to get these to fit. But I did just want to go through completely with the installation on one headlight so I can exactly show you how it's done on the one that I haven't touched yet. And in all honesty, it is a lot more straightforward than I thought, and it's totally something that you guys could do on your own. So with that said, let's just jump right into doing the necessary modifications to this one to get this projector up here installed. And oops, I just spilled a bunch of stuff. So first things first, of course, outside of taking off the stock lens, you need to remove the little caps that secure and protect the headlights and the high beams. They should just screw right off, just like that. There's a little seal that comes off like that. This one does give me a little bit of difficulty to remove. The bulb, though, comes out pretty simply. I will use a heat gun to just heat up this surrounding piece to just loosen it up to make it 10 times easier on myself because it is pretty stuck on there. There we go. The cap comes right off and the grommet for it too. Now we'll go ahead and get this housing out. And to do that, there are a couple of adjustment screws that level out the light. There's one right here and then one right here. You just want to loosen those up all the way. And by loosen, I mean you'll see the headlight want to pop out because this little chrome housing is what's moved by those adjustment screws. Now, when I was doing this job on the other headlight, this part took me a while to figure out because there was nothing online about it. But right in here, there is a little piece that the back of this chrome housing kind of clicks into. Use a little bit of WD-40 to just spray right into that little piece so that it makes it 10 times easier for it to want to slide out. There. That was kind of violent, but yeah, see, that's that little metal piece that clips right into that little white section right there. Now, with all of that stuff removed off of the backside, we can go ahead and begin the modification to the housing itself, which just consists of grinding down this little tab on the backside here, and then modifying the shroud of this projector, just so it fits in the housing. As far as the shroud is concerned, we want to take off the bottom lip of it because when it sits in here, it doesn't have the right amount of clearance on the bottom for it to sit. And the main reason why we made that little Dremel on the backside there is so that the lens housing can fit nice and firm in the back of this chrome housing without it wobbling or being uneven. If we were to install it crooked without making that little cut, it would more than likely make the beam off center and it would just look stupid out driving. And because we already have high beams, we can go ahead and remove these two wires here just by snipping them. Because this is what allows for this projector to have a high beam capability. But of course we don't need it. Now, because I already know the relative cut that I need to make, I'll just go ahead and cut the bottom part of the shroud where I know I'm going to need it. All right, so I've gone ahead and reattached the shroud, and by all means, this should fit perfectly. There we go. And just flip this around. You might be thinking to yourself, oh, well, how are you going to align it 100%? With this HID projector combo that I've bought, it comes with its own washer that goes on the back and basically centers it with respect to the back of this housing. I just need to undo this bracket first. Feed this all the way through. Take this little nut off. Throw the alignment washer on. Fits perfectly right in there. And then put the nut back on. And go ahead and use a crescent to tighten up that nut. Of course, don't tighten it too much because you could risk cracking something since this all is just a bunch of plastic. There, that should be good. And there you have it. A freshly installed projector into your Zenki housing. All right, so now after all of this work, I still don't have lenses, and the company that I originally got the lenses from doesn't know when they're going to be able to send me replacements. So I went ahead and ordered another pair from Circuit Sports. I think they are the original people that made the clear lenses. But either way, I've gone ahead and hooked up the HID. It's pretty straightforward with how it is. There's just a metal washer with this little metal clip that goes over it. Now I did put some sealant underneath this little rubber gasket that came with the HID kit just to ensure that we won't have any leaks of any sort. And even though I don't have the lenses, it's still perfectly fine to go ahead and hook them up for a little bit of a test. Hopefully they work. But you can already tell it looks super nice already and completely changes the look of the front end of the car. Now when you piece together the HIDs, you'll notice that there are two prongs that don't lead to anything. This is what goes into your stock bulb harness. With this connector, in this orientation, you have the positive on the right side that just clips in, and then your negative on top that of course just clips in. Now we can go ahead and flip the switch on the inside of the car, and hopefully they turn on. All right, I hear the ballasts on. They make a little bit of a whirring noise. Actually, it looks like the passenger side is the only one that is on. Maybe I missed a connection. Oh yeah, I did. I had it flip-flopped. The top is the positive, and then the ground is the right side. There you go. Now it turned on. It is in the middle of the day here in Florida, so you're not going to be able to see like a cutoff on the wall here. And I don't even have the headlights mounted, so the cutoff is probably gonna be all wonky. But either way, I guess you can say that we are one step closer to having this little HID project complete. I ordered the lenses last night and I was told that they should be shipped by Tuesday. So that's when you guys can expect for us to be finally done with all this. And I honestly can't wait because I've always wanted to do this. And for my first time, I think I did a pretty decent job. I still need to figure out what I'm going to do to protect that connector there. But in retrospect, I am super happy with how this has gone. Although I do realize I probably shouldn't have cut so much on the shroud underneath, and that I didn't really need to cut the top of the shroud right here because I thought it was going to butt into that little screw hole there. Lessons learned. If I'm ever gonna do this again in the future, then I know exactly what I need to do. And hopefully you guys do too. So with that said, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for next week when we finish up this job, and hopefully a couple other little light mods for the S14. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time. Peace.